Hello everyone, this is Mr. Yevs. In this short video, I'm going to introduce you to a new topic called the Protestant Reformation. Christianity, since its inception or beginning in the 1st century AD, had become very powerful by the 13th century, to the extent that it could rival any state government across the world. The leader of the church, that is the Pope, had greater political and military influence than many leaders across the world. In some situations, he could impose taxes on people, make laws, and so on and so forth. Had a lot of wealth and asset, land. So the church had become very powerful by the 13th century. However, the story began to change from the 14th century to the 17th century, during the Renaissance. Now, the idea of humanism was key during the period of Renaissance. Humanism was basically about the fact that man's fate was determined by man himself. Now, the impact of humanism was huge on religion. It created a new breed of scholars and writers who spoke up against some of the teachings and practices of the church. And these are some of the writers or scholars who spoke up against the teachings and practices of the church. Along the line, Martin Luther also came to the scene and added his voice to the criticisms that were being leveled against the church. Now, Martin Luther summed up all his arguments against the practices and the teachings of the church in what we call the 95 Theses. The theses were mainly arguments that he had put together to challenge the church on some of its teachings and practices. He nailed these arguments on the door of the church on October 31st, 1517. And this date is the birth of the Protestant Reformation. One key issue that Martin Luther tackled was the fact that he didn't believe that indulgences were biblical. Now, indulgences were basically purchasing forgiveness for sins by giving money to the church. This practice was being done by the church across Europe, but for Martin Luther, this was not biblical. It didn't have any backing in the Bible. So he challenged the practice of indulgences in his 95 Theses. He continued to have debates, engagements, and sessions where he challenged some of these corrupt teachings and practices of the church. So here is Martin Luther. Now, at a point, Martin Luther was asked to recant or give up on the argument that he was making against the teachings and the practices of the church. But he said, and I quote, "I cannot and will not recant anything, for to go against conscience is neither right nor safe." So he didn't give up on these arguments that he had brought up against the church, and as a result, he was excommunicated from the church. In other words, he was sacked from the church. Now, the problem is that at this same period of time, there had been the invention of what we call the printing press. Now, the printing press helped to spread Martin Luther's thoughts and ideas across Europe. That is, his 95 theses were printed and transferred or transported or sent across Europe. So at the time that he was excommunicated from the church or sacked from the church, he was not just leaving the Roman Catholic Church as a single person, but he was leaving the church with a great following, because a lot of people at that time had bought into his thoughts or ideas. So his excommunication led to a split of the Roman Catholic Church. Now, this will have a huge impact on Christendom or on the church and on Europe as well. The Protestant Reformation actually weakened the Catholic Church. And from that point forward, they were looking forward to an opportunity whereby they can spread the Catholic faith in order to gain new followers. Now, this desire by the Roman Catholic Church will have an impact on the age of exploration, which is another topic that we will discuss in the next video. Thank you for watching.